Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new live stream on Crypto Tips. My name is Heidi.
My name is Toby.
And welcome to Crypto Tips. So today we have a lot of things to talk about. Interesting developments happening on centralized cryptocurrency exchanges. We'll be covering that. But Toby, what do you got for us?
$28.5 billion of Bitcoin were bought at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's a lot of money being poured in. And who knows if that was actually Luna? Because I think Luna bought 2,830 Bitcoin the other day. So I think that had to do partly with Luna, but you never know. I mean, there's the more people that are buying Bitcoin that are billionaires and like putting billions in, the more their friends and other people are going to be pouring into Bitcoin. So yeah, it's really interesting. That alone, the Luna buy was $133.5 million at that time, and they killed it after that pump. So yeah, pretty cool.
So now they're like the 39.9998 largest holder of Bitcoin now?
They're the 40th largest
now they have a little
Bitcoin
bit more.
holder in the world right now, which is really impressive. So,
Yeah.
Man, that's so cool coming from a decentralized stable coin. So yeah, and it's gonna back it essentially. So man, what a good choice. That is a brilliant choice in my opinion.
Yeah. I want to say hey to everyone here in the live chat real quick. If you want to say where you're from, awesome. If you don't, cool. We respect your privacy, obviously, as well. But maybe you find someone else who's in your same area into crypto. You guys can have a little meetup or something. So, hey, everyone. I see Jan, Dave D, Paul, Foxcoit.
Johnny C.
Yeah, Walt
Donnie
Griffin.
Ozzy.
I will get to your question. It's a good one.
Nice.
W is from Belgium. Cool. So
Walt.
Feel free to say hi if you want.
Oregon. Yep. And Cool Winder.
Okay, so Walt Griffin's question was, with the millions of dollars of money invested into these different altcoins, why do they still go up and down with the Bitcoin price? I'm going to debate you on that one because I don't think that alts rise the same time Bitcoin rises. There's definitely been a disconnect between Bitcoin and altcoins. You can learn a lot about the Bitcoin dominance, and as profits move from altcoins into stable coins, into Bitcoin and reverse or whatever order they're going. Typically what we see is Bitcoin will pump and then people take their profits from Bitcoin and then they're like, oh, look, I got all this like free money, profits from Bitcoin. Yeah. They're like, oh, what else can I play with? What else can give me even more profits? So they start dabbling in the altcoins. And most people who are investing in cryptocurrencies aren't doing deep dives. They're just going to invest like the top 10, top 20, top 50 altcoins that they see listed on websites like CoinGecko.com. That's my opinion.
But our CT Club, we get into more microcaps. Actually, I just presented a microcap for everybody. If you want to check us out below, the CT Club, you get our trade alerts, our market updates, all that good stuff. So
and a community, guys.
Oh, yeah, and please like and subscribe if you like stuff like this.
Yeah.
I always forget to say that. All right.
I also just posted on our Patreon group there for the CT Club members their feedback for one article that I read today, and it's going to be an inspiration for a video that we will be posting this week, talking about the U.S. Treasury's proposal for eCash. So that's just one example of some feedback you can have with the content on this channel. I love to hear other people's ideas, what people are paying attention to, and it's all a collaboration, right? So yeah.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking about Libra, or what is it?
Facebook's coin.
Yeah. So I was actually...
They changed it though, didn't they?
No, I know that, but I was walking back home and I was just thinking, this all makes sense of what's happening with bank accounts being frozen all around the world, whether it's Canada, Russia, wherever, and then just all this KYC stuff. And if they did allow for Facebook's coin to be transferred, nobody would use the dollar anymore.
Yeah, that's why it was such a threat for them.
Nobody would use it.
Yeah.
And so, even though it'd be centralized, nobody would use the dollar. So I just, because I'm, like for us, we send money overseas to people that in need. And like, it's really hard for me to get that money to them now. So yeah, that's one of the things. If I could just do it on Facebook, it'd be super easy.
It was smothered into, into nothing.
Yeah.
Because they were so threatened by it. Doc Larson, glad you can catch us live. And for everyone who here in the live chat, you guys are great.
Dragon Ball, what's up?
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Clean slate.
Okay, should we just get right into some
let's
topics? Do it. Okay. So, guys,
there's some crazy stuff happening right now. With all these regulations, it's actually pretty scary what Coinbase is doing. So
yeah, Coinbase and possibly the EU.
Yeah,
they're doing some things. So this whole what we were talking about with the EU, and they were going to possibly be banning proof of work mining. And then they made it much more broader language that they could easily include proof of stake mining or proof of stake blockchains if they wanted to. So anyway, here's something that's happening with Coinbase. Toby made a video on this yesterday. Coinbase complies with local laws, announces changes and services for users in 3 countries. Yeah. What were the 3 countries again? Canada, Japan, Singapore, and Japan.
Yeah.
So basically what they're saying is if you're trying to send, I think it's any cryptocurrency. It doesn't matter which one it is. If you are trying to send cryptocurrency from your Coinbase account into a wallet that someone else controls, a wallet that isn't, KYC'd, basically, that you can't prove the owner of that wallet, basically. You, if you are sending over $1,000 worth of that, or Canadian dollars,
$797 US dollars.
Thank you.
Okay.
You'll have to basically give a name and address for the recipient of those cryptos. So basically, this is them saying, okay, you know what? Coinbase actually has, since like early 2019, they've been paying that one firm, Chainalysis, if you guys have heard of them.
They suck.
They collect all of the data, publicly available data that is happening on blockchains, and connecting that with centralized exchanges where people have given their personal identifying information, their government IDs, their location, their citizenship, their residency, and all of that. And now they are connecting that with the addresses associated with their accounts on that centralized exchange. And, they've been trying to piece together like where you're sending your coins out to. Obviously, they're trying to do that. But now they can say, whether or not governments is making them do this, now basically they don't have to pay any firm to collect that data. They're just going to make their users fork it over for them. And then they can take that really specific data and sell that or give that to any government that asks for it.
And if there's anybody out there working for Chainalysis, get a real job. That's all.
Get inspired. You can
like,
do
something
better
with your life.
I think you can do better.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just quit wasting it.
So this is starting in Canada, Singapore, and Japan. Obviously, Toby and I are both on the same page. This is going to be widespread on Coinbase very soon. So get ready, guys. Send your coins to a wallet while you still can without having to prove, because a lot of people are also saying, you can just make up a name and address of like, it's just like John Doe at 555.
Yeah, but they're going to require KYC for that end too.
Yeah, so that's where it's going to evolve into, where like you're going to have to be able to prove that person actually is the owner of that wallet. And they do so by, they have to be having gone through KYC. So it's actually like Coinbase is moving into PayPal territory where you can't actually leave that system. It has to all be happening. All the transfers have to be happening within Coinbase, within their controlled little bubble of data, and they know who's who, where this money is coming from. Yeah, it's not a good look for crypto for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a good look for centralized exchanges. But if you're not if you're off a centralized exchange and you have peer-to-peer transactions, that's fine. But they're never going to blanket it. You know what I mean? So they're not going to put a blanket on all regulated, like all countries have to provide KYC. All the recipients have to do that. They're never going to do that. They're going to slowly get it out there. But people like us, governments can't fool me. Sorry, ain't gonna happen. Been in this space long enough, and there's a reason why I got into this space, because I don't trust governments whatsoever, and so I'm never going to. I understand how they work. It's always the boiling frog.
There's no more cautious optimism for us.
No. So I'm always on high alert,
spade.
and there's a reason for that, and I've done great because of that. Our lives are much better because we've
And
decided
freer because of
way
it.
better
Yeah.
than relying on these punks. You
Yeah.
know, so with that said, take your coins off the exchanges. Make sure you
Yeah.
do that as soon as possible. I would never use Coinbase. If you have Coinbase, probably pause this and go take your coins off Coinbase. And, you know, we will keep you posted if there's, like, say, Binance or whatever is going to start doing this or whatever. There are a lot of smart people in this space.
If it's
And they're gonna warn you of it, and we are definitely gonna warn you.
Yeah,
So.
I know that's another thing. Oh, there's so many things to talk about with this topic, guys. Is that if it's a centralized exchange, maybe Coinbase is a first. It will not be the only one. And sooner or later, every centralized exchange that either operates within the U.S. or is servicing U.S. Users, or Japan or Canada or Singapore, whatever government is making this law or, like, you know, this kind of regulation, they will be needing to put that on their users. There were these centralized exchanges that were more like they didn't require as much KYC as others, but sooner or later they all are requiring you to fork up a lot of information.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing I was going to talk to is a lot of people panic, like, okay, especially talking about Tether and these centralized stable coins, a little off topic here, stay with me, and moving to more decentralized stable coins like DAI or UST, for example. A lot of people want to know, like, what day is that going to switch? It's not necessarily going to be like that, but you have to, if you are aware of how things are moving and evolving, and it's not like you have 5 minutes to react to this. You either see it coming or you don't. And the people who don't see it coming are the ones that are going to get a rude awakening and are going to be realizing that they're going to be locked out of their exchange account because they didn't see it coming. That's why we're always emphasizing, you guys, be proactive, see where it's coming, learn how to use a decentralized exchange.
But if you're a subscriber to us, you're never going to miss that.
Yeah,
we are
have
going
so
to
many
be
classes.
pounded in your head way before it
Yeah.
happens, and we will warn you which countries are doing that as well.
Yeah,
So.
there's classes available for our CT Club members going all over the wallet options, the best practices for keeping your crypto safe that way, decentralized exchanges, how they're different, which ones are really more decentralized than others, and I'll definitely be doing a refresher of a few of those, especially the decentralized exchanges class as well. But yeah, so
Let me thank Mo really quick. Mo,
yeah,
thank you so much
for the super chat.
Super chat. And let me ask. Doc Larson says,
Yeah,
"Have you
good
visited
question.
El Salvador?" No, I have not. Never
No.
never visited there, but we're considering it. It sounds like El Salvador has done a pretty good job with big GDP growth since adding Bitcoin. Yeah, it definitely has. I think a lot of people, like, what a great idea to move to El Salvador if you're in one of these countries that are trying to regulate, to have the barrier of entry like crazy high. You just go to El Salvador and live a free life and have beautiful beaches and all that other good stuff.
Especially if you're not a U.S. citizen or you're not in a country that taxes you based on your residency or based on your citizenship, but rather taxes you on your residency, you can move somewhere crypto friendly and not have to necessarily renounce that citizenship to get that benefit, let alone, you know, just the hurdle of all of a sudden, for example, anyone who's a U.S. citizen, try to go to Binance.com and open an account. You can't. You have to go to Binance.us. So that's where we definitely see the space going, is that there's going to be like a specific type of exchange for whatever country you're in or whatever country you're a resident of. So
Freddie White says, a few weeks ago, I saw the SEC tried to investigate Luna, but Luna said they're not based in the U.S., so there's no need to be investigated. Okay, so
they're based in South Korea.
Essentially, yeah. But even then, okay, so my only worry for Luna is Do Kwon. That's the
CEO.
That's the CEO.
Yeah.
That's the one thing they
Yeah.
really screwed up on. Like, no disrespect to the guy. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, smart guy. But if you put a CEO on a decentralized anything, you're kind of blowing it. That is the only thing, because that is your pinch area. That's where governments are going to go after. And that could be quite dangerous. Plus, it's DPoS, right?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then you have
You know how I feel
that
about
issue
that.
as well. So, yeah.
Sean Parpart is saying you could send it to another wallet in your name and then send it to to anyone you want. Not hard to get around. Yes, but how do you prove that you're the owner of that wallet? You can't just say, "Oh yeah, it's my wallet." And furthermore, every time you declare you're the owner of that wallet, you're making it very easy for them to follow your pattern, especially if you're sending it from one wallet to another, to an exchange or something. If you do that enough times, or the IP address is similar for every transaction, they're going to know that you're ultimately the owner of all the wallets. They're going to know what you're doing with your crypto. It would be very traceable. And that's very valuable data for them to be mining from you, to know exactly when and where and who you're sending your money to and how much. You got to pay attention to that. You know, the classic phrase is, if there's no cost, if there's no, what is it? If there's no cost to it, you're the product, basically. I totally butchered that, but you know, nothing's free, right? Anything that's free, it's because they're collecting your data and they're selling it.
Mice think, or rats think, that the cheese is free, and then you know what happens. So that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mitch Clow says, if governments design CBDCs so that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies cannot be traded with them, would that make Bitcoin worthless? Absolutely not, because there is a peer-to-peer decentralized aspect on Bitcoin that governments can't shut down. It's impossible. Even Michael Saylor on his Tucker Carlson video that he was talking about, he's like, they can't shut it down. It's impossible. But and there's no reason you can't shut down anyways, because say governments did make it illegal. Okay, so you had like a couple years ago, the number, like 60 million people in the U.S. were onboarded like a couple years ago. And so imagine arresting 60 million people. Like, because think about it, you're going to piss off a lot of people if you do that.
Yeah.
And there's going to be many people that are not going to abide by that. And so, there's a lot of smart people in crypto that it's a bit different. People in crypto understand economics much more, at least the original people and the early adopters. Cypherpunks as well.
Check out the cypherpunks,
exactly.
Guys.
They know economics. They understand monetary theory way more than traditional finance dinosaurs. Yeah. That's for sure.
Furthermore, the thought of the fact that they would fully clamp down on your ability to purchase cryptocurrency. Think about this personally. How would you react to that? Wouldn't that make you want to purchase crypto while you still could? Wouldn't that make you see what that system is, what it actually is, not what they're trying to portray it as like just complete control over your life? And furthermore, the cat's out of the bag for crypto. So to think that if a country wanted to say, oh, we're going to do the CBDC and you can't buy Bitcoin with it, you have to think of how that triggers within you and that you're not the only one. Most of the time, like, it's almost a guarantee whenever a country tries to make something illegal with cryptocurrencies, especially, capital flight into that very thing that they're trying to ban happens exponentially. Yeah. So that happened in China. So definitely something to think about. Also, a quick question from someone here. If not Coinbase, how do we convert fiat to crypto? Gemini? Jack Jones, thank you for that question. Coinbase is a centralized exchange. Gemini is a centralized exchange. Kraken is a centralized exchange. Binance, Huobi, KuCoin. There's a lot of centralized exchanges. Any exchange that is having custody over your coins is centralized. And that custodianship over their coins, there's a lot of ways for them to be centralized, but that's a huge hint for you that if they're centralized, they're going to be rolling out the same thing sooner or later that Coinbase has. So check out Decentralized Exchanges, bisq.network. BISQ.network is a classic one for fiat to crypto conversions. Also Paxful.com. They have a pretty harsh limit, though, on the lifetime account unless you go through KYC. If there's any decentralized exchanges making you go through KYC, they're not that decentralized because they need to be collecting data to stay somewhat regulatory compliant because they have someone publicly that government can clamp down on.
They're not decentralized.
They're not decentralized.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Johnny Freedom says, what about the Coinbase wallet? Is it safe? I mean, it's safe technically.
It's connected to Coinbase, so what can you expect?
But I mean, as far as like, I'd get it off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even deal with Coinbase.
Take a hint, like not to be, I'm sorry, that wasn't meant to be like mean or anything, but seriously, you have to, just because it's not explicitly, connected to it, it has Coinbase in the name. They're all about collecting your data. They're all about centralized control. I wouldn't put too much faith into something that is labeled by any centralized exchange at this point.
Oh, here's a question. If you're in the U.S., how is it possible to avoid KYC when sending USD to an exchange?
Void KYC. Use bisq.network, bisq.network.
Yeah.
All of your bank information is stored locally on your computer within the app that you run for that DEX. It's the most properly decentralized exchange I've ever come across. They don't even have servers that exist to store any data that they could collect if they wanted to. And so in my opinion, it's very robust. The person who created it stepped down from the power position and it's now run by a DAO. So you will need Bitcoin initially for your account to kind of build your reputation. But after that, I think it's a really good option.
Dragon Ball, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know
What's the
much
question?
about LQTY. Would you class LQTY in the same bracket as USDT in terms of being decentralized?
We'll have to look
stablecoin?
into it.
But USDT isn't, or USDT is not
It's not decentralized. It's a centralized stablecoin.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, if LQTY, maybe it's Liquidity,
yeah, that's
is maybe if that one is a decentralized stablecoin, I love to see more attention and more innovation in the properly decentralized stablecoin arena, because just like decentralized exchanges, the more properly decentralized it is, the more robust it will be against these regulations, the more of an oasis it will be for people who are citizens of countries that are really trying to clamp down on either their ability to interact with crypto or, just to respect their privacy. If you're interested in that, you got to check out. I'm singing it like all day today, decentralized exchanges, but you get it.
Well, let's get into some more.
Anything else to talk about? Okay,
Yeah.
so here's another bad news one. EU cracking down on unhosted wallets. Very similar. It's nothing permanent, but basically they're talking about it. Someone has proposed it. It has not been voted on or anything yet. But basically there's a lot of people within the EU, with power within the EU, who are very interested in not letting you be able to send your coins from any exchange into a wallet that, again, is a private wallet, your hardware wallet, a wallet that you control, that you didn't need to prove your identity to gain access to that wallet. So we'll see how that evolves. We'll be keeping you up to date.
Obviously we know where it's going to evolve.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah. So what I see happening is I see a split between people that want a decentralized world and people that don't care too much. Like, your grandma or whatever just wants it easy. Like, whatever, I'll just give whatever information, doesn't matter. So you're going to have a complete split. So there's going to be two worlds that are being created right now. You're going to have a centralized crypto world, totally centralized, and then you're going to have a totally decentralized crypto world, in my opinion. And the more that governments go ahead and do this, the more that the developers and will that'll be the catalyst for them to make new decentralized coins, decentralized stable coins, whether it's decentralized exchanges. Mm-hmm. On-ramps, off-ramps, it'll all just spur all this innovation. That's what happens in this space. So the greatest thing is, like, governments are huge. Say, for instance, the story of David and Goliath. So David, small, agile, versatile. Then you have, Goliath, which is essentially governments now. It's just like hard to turn around. You're so big and stuff, and you have all this bureaucracy to do anything you want.
Yeah.
And so who's going to win that fight? Obviously, it's the free market. So the free market has the brilliant minds. That's why I say get a real job if you're working at Coin Analysis. You could actually do something to benefit the world and actually help people around the world instead of centralizing the crap out of this space and building bureaucracy. What's the point of your job, buddy? So that's why I say, get off your high horse and then, work for the free market in this space, because I can promise you there's way more money to be made if you're in the free market rather than working for government. And you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to be helping a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, what was I going to say? Crap, I forgot it. Thanks. I will try to find your video on BISC. I haven't done a video on it yet, but if you go to bisc.network, they have an FAQ page. It's really extensive. You can check out a lot of what you're going to need.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
For BISC.
Yes.
Okay. I've never used BISC.
Yeah.
But do they have the liquidity?
Someone was saying also about Monero. How do you feel about Monero as all of these exchanges are delisting it? The highest liquidity found on BISC is Bitcoin to Monero trades.
Oh, that's kind of brilliant.
Yeah, because that's what people want there.
Mm.
Also, the Kid Oz is asking if I'm single. Meet Toby, my lovely, amazing husband.
Sorry, man.
So yeah,
7
Monero,
years too late.
Certainly a use case for privacy coins. Bitcoin mixers I'm up in the air with them because there's not that many people who use it. And if you're trying to be anonymous, you're not trying to hide in a crowd of like 2 other people. Like you want to hide in a crowd of like 1 million other people. You know what I mean? So for that reason, certain Bitcoin mixers, I'm just kind of skeptical of how actually effective they are. But from what I understand, Monero is a very, very robust way to anonymize yourself in crypto.
But with that said, I know that Bitcoin developers are working on ZK snarks, which is really great for obfuscating your coins. And I'm not going to even get into what ZK snarks is. I have a hard time understanding it, so I'm going to butcher my explanation on it. But essentially, it's completely obfuscating it's proving that you have your coins without saying you have your coins. That's pretty much it. Like without.
Oh yeah. So
showing proof.
Basically, it's like, imagine, I read this analogy of ZK snarks, and it's really good. Imagine you have 2 colored balls in your hand, and you put them behind your back. And I can see the color of them, but I'm sorry, I cannot see the color of them, but you can. Mm-hmm. And you prove that you have that knowledge because you are consistently picking the right colored ball. Mm. I mix them up. And I remember which ones they are. You don't know which one exactly I'm holding in my hand, but when I reveal it, you choose the red ball or whatever. And you keep choosing the red ball. So that means I know you have the knowledge of it without me knowing exactly what your knowledge is.
Yeah. So the red ball.
Does that make sense, guys?
If you have the red ball, you're set.
Last week you did the lube. I did the false.
Okay.
Okay. You guys. So... You guys go on a dating site. Sorry, you guys are funny. Anything else?
Well,
Okay. So I found an article here on what's happening with crypto. Why is Bitcoin pumping? Let me get this.
Well, I can tell you one reason why Bitcoin's pumping.
Yeah.
I mean, the main reason is there's like we've been explaining before, the amount of coins on exchanges are dwindling like crazy. So, a lot of people are sending off their coins right now, their Bitcoin. And there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin out there, right? So if you're constantly draining the supply of Bitcoin and putting it off exchanges, like for instance, I think 63% of Bitcoin that are out there right now are off exchanges right now. Or I think 63% have been off for about a year, almost a year now.
Yep.
So that's
63%.
That's huge, guys. And who's doing that?
How many millions of Bitcoin is that?
Oh, exactly. And imagine how many holders there are. Like we do better than most traders. I can just firmly say that. we dollar cost average. We've been helping our CT club with, we buy when it dips, boom, like we got ETH at 2,500. the last time it dipped
Yeah.
that way.
Yep.
And I did a trade alert at $2,500.
Yep.
You know, boom, they're killing it. So with that said, you know, we're dollar cost averaging. And then we're constantly adding during these dips, and then it adds up. Like we killed it the last, you know, every cent that we spent in the 30s, now 30,000. Now we're in the almost $50,000 now. So yeah, that's how you do it. I mean, I've been doing it for 9 years now. Dollar cost averaging for 9 years.
All of the
Boom.
OGs, all of the people who know what's happening.
Our dollar
Dollar
cost
cost
averaging,
averaging.
that's what Michael Saylor's doing.
It's boring. It's not the most clickbaity.
No.
It's not the most hyping up or whatever FOMO inducing,
No.
but it is the best, most stress-free way to accumulate wealth over time in crypto.
And keep in mind, about
Period.
95 to 98% of traders on average don't actually
Yeah.
consistently make money. If you're dollar cost averaging into solid coins, you're going to make money.
Yeah.
It's like eventually you're going to make it, especially if it's Bitcoin or Ethereum, you're going to make money. Like
Yeah.
Bitcoin is the most secure network
If you have
in
time
the
on your
world.
hands, and if you have the way to make it the easiest for you to keep holding is to learn about it. I want to end with this. That was your reason why Bitcoin was
Sure.
pumping. Glassnodes was referencing it was possibly a short squeeze, but they
We'll see.
I need to read this paragraph, and if you identify as this type of person, you need to know that you are the canary. You are the one that's signaling the reverse of the trend. And you're not being a contrarian, you're falling for it, and you're going to lose on your movements every time. So here we go. Short liquidations typically happen when we have very violent upswings. Essentially, people get very comfortable with it with a market trend. They see it going down and down and down. Eventually, they feel confident enough and go. That's it. They aren't a contrarian. They don't have a long-term mindset. They see a trend and they have so much confirmation that the trend is going down that when they finally are the ones making the move, they're actually the ones that are going to trigger the reversal or be a part of the triggering of the reversal. So eventually they feel confident enough and go, you know what? I'm tired of being squeezed out of my long position. I'm going to go short. And going short basically means you're betting that the price is going to continue to go down. Yeah. Impressively, they managed to do that at the exact bottom. And then they get squeezed out in the opposite direction and the trend starts to change. Yeah. So they bought Bitcoin thinking it was going to go up, but it kept going down. They're like, oh, it keeps going down. It's probably going to keep going down. So then they make a reverse position thinking it's going to go down, and then it reverses back. So they get double screwed over with their move there. That's why we're always talking about dollar cost averaging, having a long-term mindset, learning about what this market is doing. And you can zoom out and you can see, yeah, cool, it's going down now. It's not going to go down forever because there is massive, every day, more and more reasons why this technology is not going anywhere. It's consistently being validated by how threatened these governments are by it. That to me is just a bullish case for Bitcoin. And yeah, it's not going anywhere. So
it was really difficult 9 years ago telling everybody I knew about Bitcoin, and they all thought I was a complete and utter idiot. And I think the guy that wrote How to Make Friends and something like that, Win Friends and whatever, he says, in order to be successful in life, you need to be able to ignore your friends, family, and like colleagues or something like that. So like you have to be able to just go your own way. And I'm glad that, like, for me, I wasn't the most popular guy in high school. I was picked on a lot. But it strengthened me to go ahead and go, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing, my own way, and what I think is right is going to be right. And that's what led me into Bitcoin and other things, big wave surfing Nazare, where most people in the world would even dream of surfing here. And it's brought me to these places where I'm like, I can do it. That's fine. When I first read the Bitcoin white paper, I was sold. Like within 5 minutes of it, I'm like, wow, this is going to change the world. And I really didn't care what other people thought of me. But I mean, I can imagine like other people that did care and they still stuck with it. Good on them. Like that's pretty impressive. I remember living with one of my best friends back in the time, and I'm like, get into it. Put everything you own in it, and he did, and then he ended up buying like work equipment with it. Like a couple years later, I'm like, oh my gosh, you'd be set right now, but whatever. So yeah, moral of the story is go the opposite way of what the masses are doing, and then think for yourself, because that's where I came from. So yeah. Anyways, enough of that sob story.
No. Thank you guys.
Dale Carnegie. Yeah. Thank you, Josh.
Oh yeah, how to make friends and influence people. Good book.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for this. I love this part of the week.
Yes.
We will be traveling shortly, so we'll get a couple more live streams in before we go.
Probably definitely one more.
A couple more, because I think we're gonna have good internet in
another place that we're going.
Another place we're going. So, talk to you soon,
We will
guys.
tell you when we get there, but we're going to have some mystery. So anyway,
cool.
Love you guys. We'll see you again next week for this live stream every Monday, noon Eastern time.
Like, subscribe, and take your coins off Coinbase right now.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
Otherwise, we put up videos every week. Okay, bye guys.
See ya.